Abraham Lincoln was born in February 12, 1809, at a small log cabin in Kentucky. His father, Thomas, was a farmer and a carpenter, so he grew up helping his family with farm work. His parents held view of anti-slavery, so Lincoln moved to Indiana, an anti-slavery state, at age 7. Nancy Lincoln, Abraham Lincoln's mother, saw the importance of education, so she educated Lincoln well. Lincoln soon grew up into a 6 feet tall young man. He showed interest in law and attended local courts. He joined the Black Hawk War and later joined the Whig Party and campaigned for state legislature in 1832. The country surveyor hired him as deputy, and it was a great political exposure for him. Lincoln self-studied the law, and he again ran for state legislature in 1834. He went to social gatherings like dances, picnics, and wrestling matches to make himself known to the people. In January 1837, Illinois legislature passed a pro-slavery resolution. He opposed the resolution. That was his first time to speak against. In the winter of 1839, he met Mary Todd. Mary was well educated and from a very wealthy family. They quickly fell in love and got married in 1842. In August 1, 1843, their first son, Robert Todd, was born. Lincoln ran for Congress in 1845 and won. As a congressman, he pushed the need for internal improvement. Later, Lincoln joined a party with anti-slavery belief, which is known as the Republicans. He ran against Douglas in the 1860 presidential election and won the election. Meanwhile, the tension between the North and the South raised. Tension between the Union and the Confederate finally broke off in 1861. The Confederate force fired the first shot on April 12, 1861. Lincoln believed that preservation of the Union depended heavily on the destruction of slavery. So on August 6, 1861, the first Confiscation Act was signed. This act freed slaves that are used by Confederacy for military purpose. Later in July 22, 1862, he proposed the Emancipation proclamation, which freed all the slaves in Confederacy force.
In the very first place, Lincoln was focusing on restoring the Union rather than the issue of slavery. However, the pressure on him for doing something about it was growing increasingly heavier each day. On the military front, the Union showed no hope of winning while countless men were dying. With the Union's victory at Gettysburg, he was finally able to sign the Emancipation Proclamation that would free the slaves in the South. In November 1862, victory of the war still seemed far away. Therefore, Lincoln relieved General George and appointed other generals, but none of them was a good pick. In June 1863, the Union won a great battle at Gettysburg. Lincoln was still worried because he thought the war could have ended at Gettysburg, so he appointed Grant Ulysses as the Union general. While the victory is near, President Lincoln was not feeling well physically. During his recovery, he worked on plans for Reconstruction. Lincoln had faith in Grant and promoted him, which stimulated him to fight till the end. For President Lincoln, his popularity suffered as the war dragged on. Luckily, he had enough votes from the Republicans and the Union soldiers to win the 1864 election with overwhelming advantage. More and more Union flags rose up on the military front. In Lincoln's second term, he devoted to outlaw slavery with a constitutional amendment, since the Emancipation Proclamation only freed slaves in the rebel states. On January 31, 1865, the Congress passed the 13th Amendment, which permanently abolished slavery. When it came to Lincoln's second inaugural speech, thousands of people came. The president had been in poor health condition until the message of victory was brought to him. On April 9, 1865, Lee surrendered to Grant, and the Civil War was officially ended. During the time of Reconstruction, Lincoln put forward the idea that the blacks should have the right to vote, which put his life to a great threat. On April 14th, Lincoln felt happier than ever for the war ended. He was also looking forward to the play at night in the theater because it was advertised in the newspaper that he would be there. That was how John Booth, who had been planning to kidnap the president, obtained this information. So on that very night, Booth walked into the presidential box as a famous actor and shot Lincoln from the close range. On April 15th, President Abraham Lincoln passed away.
We want to rate this book as a 4-star in a 5-star scale. This book covered all the main events that occurred in Lincoln's whole life. It showed Lincoln's belief on slavery, Lincoln's personal life, Lincoln's life as politician, and all the tasks he accomplished. However, the book did not cover the events in detail. Therefore, we rated this book as 4-star. We will recommend this book to people who love history and want to know more about Lincoln.